Hello. In this lesson, we're going to be doing our first chapter for Word. So we are going to be learning all the Microsoft Office programs, and we're going to be beginning with Word. You're going to make sure that for all your assignments that you are using Word 2016 and that you're using, if you can, you need to try and do this on the desktop computers with the actual Word. Some of your lessons might work with the Word Online or Excel Online, but they may not all work with that. I've not played with the online programs to know exactly what will and will not work. I've also been told that the Mac version of the Microsoft programs is not the same and may not work with all of these assignments either. So we're going to be beginning using Word. And in this chapter, we're going to be creating, formatting, and editing a Word document with a picture. Here you will see, I'm just showing you the first page of the textbook. Here you're going to see the objectives on what we're going to be learning how to do. Many of these things in chapter 1 you may already know how to do. And our project is we're going to be creating this Surf's Up flyer. Ours may look just a little bit different, but it'll be mainly just like this. I'm going to walk you through how to do this. In all of the recorded lectures, I am going to walk you through how to do the assignment in the book. And then after that, you're going to have 1, 2, or 3 individual projects that you're going to need to do on your own and turn in to complete the chapter. So for the first one, we're doing the Surf's Up flyer. You can see a flyer, some things about a flyer. It needs to stay all on one page. We're going to have what's called the headline. That's always your first title of your flyer. That's kind of your main attention grabbing. Then you have your body copy. That's going to be the information about what is going on. And then your signature line or call to action is going to be down here at the bottom, kind of, what do I need to do now? Well, we want the people to sign up for a lesson, so they need to call this number. You also usually want to add a picture to give it some effects. We'll play around with the pictures. And then a page border is going to make it just look a little bit nicer, take it up a step. So we're going to begin by doing this. So you're going to open Word. And when you open, I don't know, this is a little bit different than last week. So mine opened me to a blank document. I'm going to make sure that I'm on new because we're going to be starting with a new blank document. I guess before we get too far into this, you're going to want to look on Blackboard and see if there are any files you need to download. Sometimes you're going to need to download some pictures or some text or maybe an entire file to start with. So if there's something there that you need to download, I'm going to have that on Blackboard for you. So make sure you download those before you start and make sure that you put them somewhere where you're going to be able to find them. Oh, it looks like Word has done a complete update. This looks different than it did. So make sure you download those files. Make sure you can find them. It's easy to save them to your desktop or your My Documents, wherever you want to put them. For this one, we're going to have to go ahead and download the picture that I have given you. You could use any picture, but it's just easier if you go ahead and use the one with the book. That way spacing and everything's going to look a little bit better. Now, I will give you a heads up. I'm not following the book exactly word for word, page for page. I believe there are 56 pages in this chapter, and I'm going to show you how to do things without all the explanation for some of these, because it is some things that I think you already know how to do. I'm going to walk through this flyer just as I was doing it. So if you are referring to the book, just know that sometimes I may put steps in different order or show you how to do things a little bit differently than what the book does. I'm also going to be giving you some vocab words that will be on your test. However, I do recommend before you take your objective test over the program that you do go back through and read the text, look for those vocab words, make sure you know what those are because those will be on your test. So to begin with, we're just going to start with our Surf's Up flyer. The first thing I recommend you doing is turning on your ruler. So if your ruler is not showing, you're going to go to the View tab, like here my ruler's off, and make sure you put a check mark next to ruler. That's going to show your rulers. I rely on my rulers a lot. whenever I'm working in Microsoft. So I recommend you just get into the habit of turning those on. They're typically not on whenever you first open the program. However, if you've worked on the computer before, a lot of times it will remember your settings. Okay, I'm going to go back to my home tab. Now up here we have what is called the quick access toolbar, and you can change the quick access toolbar. I recommend you do that on your home computer or your work computer, so that these are things that you would use a lot. So maybe the save button is something you would use a lot. Undo, it's not highlighted right now, but you will be able to see it once we've typed something. That's undo and redo. And you can add anything up here. So I don't know, maybe you're used to using this text effects. You could right click on text effects. No, not doing it. Okay, here's the other way. You can come up here and you can check things that you think you use a lot. For example, if you use new or open, or these are a little bit different. You could also do more commands and see more of those. Maybe you're someone who prints a lot, so maybe you want to have print there. So whatever it is that you use a lot, you could actually drag them over and put them into the quick access toolbar. Okay, so to get started, we're just going to go ahead and begin by entering our text. Oh, let me show you one other thing. So this was the quick access toolbar up here. This is our ribbon. I'll refer to this as the ribbon. This is like the command center for the Microsoft Office programs. And on your ribbon, you're going to have different tabs. For example, File, Home is your main one with your basics. There's Insert, Draw. And you'll notice that as you insert new things, that, wow, it has really changed. So as you insert new things, like if I were to insert a table or a picture, I'm going to get new tabs that come up here and tell me what to do. Okay, inside your ribbon, you have different groups. So for example, on the home tab, we have the font group, which is probably one of the most popular. Then we have this little button down here at the bottom right-hand corner. This is called your launcher button. And if you click that, it's actually going to open up a new window that has more detailed things other than the tools that fit onto the ribbon. So you may have to use those a little bit. If you don't know how to do something up here, it's got tell me what you want to do. You can type that in and Word may be able to then, it's kind of like a help feature to tell you how to do something. So we'll go ahead and just begin by typing. Surf's up. Leave a couple spaces there. If you're typing from the book, you can go ahead and look at page WD2, figure 1-1. Don't worry about any formatting at this point, just do the typing. If you don't type as fast as I do, that's okay. You can go ahead and pause. And you'll notice whenever you misspell something or have a typo, it's going to underline it in red. So you can just right click on that and see if it gives you the suggestion and correct that as you go. Word does use what's called word wrap, meaning whenever it gets to the end of the line, it automatically goes to the other one, to the next line. Now that's something most programs do for you nowadays, but whenever I was learning how to type, you actually had to press your enter key, which was then called the return key, to get to the next line. Okay, so I'm done typing. If you're not, go ahead and just pause the video until you get there. Okay, now we're ready to do some formatting for it. So let's go ahead and start with our headline, Surf's Up. So I'm going to select that. So there's a couple ways you can select. You can drag through it. If you double click, you select one word. if you triple click, you select a whole line, or you can come out to the side where you get the arrow here and you can actually click and it's going to select that line for you. Okay, so we're going to change the font of this one. We're going to make this size 72. Whenever you selected text, you'll notice you get this little mini toolbar that appears. Some people like to use it. Some people don't like to use it. If you don't like to use it, just ignore it and come up here to the top. Whenever you leave it and ignore it, it actually goes away. But many of the tools that you want to use might appear on that mini toolbar. So for example, I want to make this 72. I can find that one. And I want my font to be Rockwell. Here's a tip for you. If you start typing R-O-C-K, it's going to bring it up down here at the bottom. It took me to the section with Rockwell. We're going to choose Rockwell Extra Bold. Okay, we're also going to make this all capital letters. So if you've ever typed anything in all caps and then you realized you didn't want to do that, or in this case, we've got it in regular title text. Now we want it in all cap. You do not have to retype it. So what you can do is actually come up to the change case button, which is the capital A and lowercase a, and we're going to choose uppercase. Okay, that's going to make everything uppercase. I'm also going to want to center this line. So to center, there's a couple ways right here in the paragraph group. You can hit the center button, or you need to learn, there's some shortcuts that you should learn how to use. And that one is actually Control E on your keyboard will center that line. And that's one of the most popular ones. Okay, we're still going to do a little bit of formatting to this one. While we're here, let's go ahead and we're going to add some text effects. So the text effect I'm going to do, text effects is this button here. It looks kind of like the capital A with its blue with a white inner part. So I'm going to click on that, and that's my text effects and typography button. So by clicking it, I can choose something a little bit different. So maybe I want to choose this outlined one. Okay, so I can click that. Now I've got a blue, or sorry, I've got an orange outline here on the page, and then the white letters. And let's go ahead and use the fill bucket over here. And I'm just going to grab another orange color. Now you're thinking, okay, now that looks, orange is not really the color I'd do for Surf's Up. You're right. So I want to show you about a theme. So what we can do is we can go to design, and over here we have themes. These are kind of preset themes that you can choose that has different colors and fonts and different things. But we also have over here colors. And so in the colors, we can actually pick a different theme. So I'm going to pick the one that's called blue. So by picking blue, it's actually going to change the color options I have available. So we could just choose blue, and then that's going to give us a little bit different coloring. Okay. Next, we're ready to insert our picture. So I'm going to make sure, right now I've got one blank line here. So I'm going to insert my picture. So I go to Insert, and then I'm going to go to Pictures. And that's going to bring up my documents or wherever I may have saved that picture from. So this is the picture that you went to Blackboard and saved. So wherever you saved it from, you're going to need to find that. Here's my surfer picture. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my picture here. Okay, so we can do a little bit of formatting with this right now. In Word, you notice now we have this new tab called Format. And so here's a different picture style. So if I click this arrow, it gives me lots of different picture styles. It looks like in the book, it's got like this ovally one, probably this one here. You can pick whichever style you want. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I can also play with my picture border. Maybe I want to change the color of the border. And you'll notice it gives you a live preview as you're doing this. So I could change my color of my border. Okay, that looks kind of weird with that color up here, but you can play with yours. And then maybe under picture effects, I also want to maybe add a shadow. It looks like they've added a shadow. Maybe you can put the shadow whichever direction you want. I'm going to put my shadow offset to the bottom right. Or you could do an inner shadow. And I think I'm also going to, in my picture effects, add a glow. It looks like they've added a glow to this. So I'll add a little bit of a glow there. Okay, so now if you've ever tried to move your picture around in Word, you're going to notice that it does not move very well. Actually, it doesn't usually move at all because we need to wrap it. So here is your layout options for wrapping text. You've also got a button up here under the Format tab where you can wrap text. So this comes in line with text, which means it's actually like part of your paragraph. You can play with these. You could make it square, which is then going to bring the words up around it. Top and bottom, I use top and bottom a lot. In front of text, which is going to put it on top of the words. Behind text, which puts the words on top of it. You can actually edit your wrap points, which means that you could bring it in different places if you want. So like this one here on edit wrap points, so it's going to wrap around that circle that we've created, kind of like you might see in a blog post or a magazine layout. For this one, I think I'm just going to do top and bottom because I don't want the words beside of it. And I want to center this, so I'm going to press Control E again. Nope, it did not center. See what I did wrong? Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, because I did the top and bottom, it's not going to center it. That's why. If I had left the text wrap off and made it in line with the paragraph, it would have centered it. So now I've got my picture. Now we can resize it using the sizing handles here. I'm just going to leave it alone for now, depending on what our flyer looks like at the end. I may need to adjust my picture. I do not ever recommend that you adjust a picture from your middle sizing handles, however, because if you see what happens here, it just scrunches it up. So here I'm going to hit the undo button. So I always recommend that you use one of the corner sizing handles to resize your picture. And did you notice as I was dragging this green line appears? That's going to tell me that I am in the center of the page, so I don't have to guess. Okay, we're going to come down here. I think I'm going to get rid of that line that was there because just to take out the spacing. Okay, the next one is going to be learn to surf. Okay, so we're going to highlight all of this. You notice the highlight, I used the arrow out to the side. It makes it an easy way to drag all the way down to the bottom, but you can go ahead and drag all the way through it, however you like to do it. I'm going to go ahead and make that font size 24. You can either use the drop down arrow here, or you can select it. Okay, so I've got mine on print layout. Down here, you notice how it shows me 2 pages. I'm using a widescreen. So I'm on print layout, which is probably what you've got. There's also read mode. So I can play with this setting here so that I'm just going to show you 1 page if I can get there. Okay. There we go. I just had to zoom in a little bit more and it made it where it all fits on. So you're seeing the page like you're probably seeing it. Okay, so we've made the size 24. Obviously already we can tell that it's going on to the second page and we're going to have to fix that. But for now, let's just keep going. Okay, we know that we want to make, so right now, let me show you something. Mine is breaking right in here. And I can tell that these are my margins and my margins are at the 1-inch mark. Okay, but it makes it really hard to do the formatting with this big white space in here. So you see this button here? That is the hide white space button. I can actually double click that. And now it just puts a line there. So I don't see my margin anymore. The margins are still there and they would still print, but I don't have to look at them to view them. Okay, so these 3 lines here, I'm actually going to turn into a bullet. So I'm going to come up to the bullet button. You can use the default bullet of the round. If you hit the arrow next to that, you're also going to see there's some other things, check marks, but you can include your own bullet. So we could define a new bullet. And then maybe I want to use a picture. And if my internet's good enough, it's going to load some pictures for me. And I can choose it from a file, which maybe it's saved on my computer, or from a Bing image search. So in Google, it always searches, if you're using Google Docs or whatever, it will search on Google. However, Microsoft is going to search on Bing. So I want maybe a surfboard. I can search for a surfboard using Bing. Creative Commons only. If you have this check marked, what that means is that this does not have a copyright. This is a surfboard that you can use without having to worry about copyright. I'm just going to pick this one. I don't care which one you use, and do insert and hit OK. And now you can see my bullets have become surfboards. Okay, I want this award winning to stand out, so I'm going to highlight it and I'm just going to make it bold. The shortcut for bold is Control B. And expert, I'm going to make it italicized. And I think I'm going to change the color of it a little bit. So I'm just going to come up here to my A that has the underline under it, and that is my font color. And I can change my color. So hopefully I would like to match like one of the colors that I've used in my flyer. Okay. So next, let's go ahead and format this bottom line. Let me double check on the font sizes for this. Okay. So we're going to, that 24 is correct. I'm going to center that line so I can press Control E. I'm also going to make it the blue color. So since blue was the last color I used, I can just click it again and it's going to make it blue. I want this phone number to be underlined, so I'm going to highlight the phone number. And then I'm going to press the underline button, or I can press Control U. And my flyer's looking pretty good, except for it's on 2 pages. So what I'm going to do is maybe I want to make my picture just a little bit smaller. So I can move my picture then. I've got to recenter it because I want it in the center. Did that work? Not quite. Another thing I can do is I can go up to my layout tab and I can go to my margins and I can adjust a smaller margin. So maybe I want more of a narrow margin. Okay, that made my margins a little bit smaller. Don't like the way it changed on the sides, so I'm going to undo that because it made it too wide. However, if I hit the show white space and turn that back on, over on my ruler, so if I click on this page, I can actually drag that margin down just a hair. And maybe I go to the top and drag that up just a hair. So now I have it all on one page. Okay. This is a really wide space here. So I could delete that and bring it right up here next to the bottom. That's going to get rid of some of that space for sure too. The next thing it wants us to do is we're going to add a page border to this. So I'm going to go to my layout tab, design tab. And I'm going to go to page border. This is also where you could color your page if you wanted. I'm going to go to my page border, and you could select any one of these that you want. You can change the color to be a different color. You can change how thick it is if you want a thicker border. Or maybe you want to come down here to art and see if there's anything in the artsy group that looks like it might match with what you're doing. I don't know if there's anything down here. I was looking to see if we could find some. Nope, there's some palm trees. We'll use the palm trees. And here I could actually turn off if I didn't want borders on one side or another. I could turn those on and off in this area. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now we have palm trees all around our flyer. Okay. Make sure I've covered most of the things on here. Okay. Next, I want to make sure everything is centered right now I've centered everything, most things between the left and right margin, but I want it between the top and bottom. So I actually want to center this from the top and bottom. So it'd be centered vertically. To do that, I'm going to go to the Layout tab. And here under Page Setup, I'm actually going to hit the Page Setup Launcher button. So I'm going to click that. It's going to open it up. And under Paper, nope, under Layout, I see where it has vertical alignment top. This is normally what happens. It lines it at the top, and then whatever's left at the bottom is just left. But I can actually center it between the top and bottom margins. I'm going to hit OK there. So now everything's centered, top and bottom. One more thing I'm going to do that was not in the book is we're going to add, we want to add a text box down here with our name in it. So I'm going to go to Insert, Text Box, and mine may still look a little bit differently than yours. This update just happened on mine just the other day. So text box, I can just do a simple text box, and that's going to create a text box. I can delete out of it what's in it. Okay. I'm going to drag my text box so it's down here at the bottom. Whoa, we went to a different line. Okay, another thing I might have to do with my text box is the word wrap. I'm just going to put it in front of text. Okay, and then I can drag it wherever I want to on the page. And it's not going to move my text as I do that. Okay, inside my text box, I'm going to type, I want you to type your name. And then I want you to type the assignment. So this is going to be word 1, surf flyer. You'll notice here how whenever it's spaced it a little bit farther apart. I'm going to highlight both lines of that. And when I highlight both of those, I'm going to go to my Home tab, and I have my line spacing button, which is here with the up and down arrows. I'm going to click it. Word by default now will space everything at 1.15. I can actually space everything at 1. And I'm also going to remove the space after paragraph. So that's going to put it a little bit closer together. Okay, that box is pretty big here, so I can actually drag it in to fit my words. I can then go to my Format tab. Since I'm in the box, I have the Format tab. Maybe I want to change my shape outline. I could actually pick a color for it. I could change my fill, so I can make it filled with another color. Maybe something like that. And I could also pick more rounded if I would rather have a rounded look to it. And then I could still go back and fill it in again. Okay. So that is a text box. And with your layout, you can actually put it here. So like right now it's on top of it. I could actually, if I wanted it to be behind there, I could actually put the text box behind. And to do that, all I would have to do is go to position. That's my text wrapping, sorry. Bring forward or send backward. So if I send it backward, it would be behind all my text, and whatever I typed on top of it would be on top of it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add some word art. This was not in your book either, but we're going to go to Insert. And we're going to go to Word Art. Oh, it's over here under Text. It's kind of a sideways diagonal looking A, so I'm going to click on that one. I can click how I want my word art to look. So you pick any one of these that you want to use. It's going to make a little box here. And I'm just going to take out that and put sign up today. Okay. In my word art, you could actually play with this and you can do a little bit of word art styles. So if I wanted to fill this with a color, I could actually fill it in. Those are hard to see on here. So I could fill in my text if I wanted. So something like that. Or maybe I wanted to fill it in with this green color that has kind of been using. Maybe I wanted to make my outline a little bit bigger. I could change the weight. Make it something like that. Okay, so this button here is the rotate button. So I'm just going to rotate it around a little bit. Oops, lost my rotate. So I can rotate it. And I can change the size of this just by dragging on the boxes. So however you want to position yours, just trying to get it over here. I do not want it to cover up my phone number though, so probably take it back down to the one line. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that. So make sure that your flyer is on one page. And then that is how we want it to look. I do want to show you a couple more things that the book talks about. So if you go to File, and we should probably save it. So because this is, so everyone always asks, what's the difference between save and save as? So saving your document is what you would use if you have never saved it before, so it does not have a name, like this one does not have a name. It's called Document 1. Or if I've saved it already and I don't want to change the name, I can hit save and it's going to change the name, keep the name the same. If I want to change where it's located or change the name of it, I have to hit save as. So I could just hit save on this one because I've never saved it before. And it actually opens up the save as tab. Put it wherever you want to put your file. And I have to name it. So the way that I want you to name your files is we're going to start everything that we do in Word with a WD for Word. And then I'm going to put 1 because this is chapter 1. So the next chapter, you're going to start with WD2. The assignment you do with this chapter, after we finish this one, you'll name it WD1 and you'll call it whatever I tell you to call it. I think it's called Personal Flyer, but this one's going to be WD1 Surf Flyer. Okay. And then I want you to put your initials after it. So it's really important that you name these the way I say to, because whenever you go to turn them in, you're going to have to find these. So pay attention to what you name it. Also pay attention to where you put it. So, because you're going to have to find these so that you can upload them. And I'm going to hit save. Okay, so the other thing I want to show you is under properties. So if I go back to file, and over here you're going to see some of the properties. It took me about 29 minutes to create this. I could add another title if I wanted. So maybe I'm going to call it Surf Flyer. Tags are something that maybe you don't remember what you called this, but you wanted to search by like a keyword type thing. So I could tag this. This was Word. It was Project 1. It was about surf. So things like that. Okay. It's also going to tell me who the author is and who has modified it in the past. So those are some things you might want to check on. You can always do whenever you are working on this is changing your properties. There are more advanced properties too you can get into, which is the ones that the book shows you. So here you could add a category, what the category was, things like that. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to hit save again. This time I just hit regular save. And that is all with this one. I do want to show you because you are going to be doing a personal flyer. The instructions are on Blackboard for you. But I want to show you. Oh, did I lose it? Oh, here it is. So back to the book. And then we have, here I've opened it up. So I'm always going to give you a scoring guide. I would recommend that you always use the scoring guide before you turn in your assignments. The project we just did was here. You can see if you completed this project with no errors, you get a 10. If you did most of the project, but you had a few errors, you could get 5 points out of 10 points possible. Your personal flyer. This is how you're going to earn your 10 points. Did you put on a page border? Did you use custom picture bullets? Did you add a picture graphic or clip art? Did you adjust some of the font? Were you creative? Did you use an appropriate text, headline, and signature line? Did it fit to one page? Did you use a word art? Did you incorporate a shape? The shape was the little text box that we did. And did you have no spelling and grammar issues? That's how you're going to earn all 10 points. I will give you one of these for every assignment you do, so there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to get 100% on everything that you turn in. So good luck. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'm here. I'm available if you need to stay after school. If you need me to stay because you don't have the program, I can do that. However, if you do have a personal computer at home, you cannot do this on your Chromebook, but a computer at home, you can actually download the Microsoft Office programs for free onto your laptop or desktop at home. So if you need help doing that, be sure and let me know.